Welcome to the Occupational Therapy Transition to Secondary School presentation. My name is Ruth McGree and I work as an occupational therapist in the Child and Adolescent Mental Health Service in Carlow and Kilkenny. The key topics I will cover today will be self-regulation, how to get into the just right state for paying attention at school and getting along with others, and organisation, tips and strategies to make school life more manageable. Self-regulation is the ability to attain, maintain and change arousal appropriately for a task or situation. For instance, if we are playing in a hurling match or going to a concert or a party, our arousal levels or our level of alertness will be appropriately high. When we are going to sleep at night, our level of arousal will be low, and we can focus and concentrate in class when our level of arousal is just right. Self-regulation involves many neurological connections in the brain, including the brainstem, cerebellum, and the cortex. Our senses give us information about the physical conditions of our body and the environment around us. The brain must organise all of these sensations if a person is to move and learn and behave normally. Jean Ayres developed the theory sensory integration, and this information is from sensory integration and the child. When we look at the picture of the computer and printer, the computer represents our brain. The information we input into the computer represents what we see, hear, taste, touch and smell, and how we experience movement. The computer makes sense of the input, and what comes out, the printout, represents our ability to attend, demonstrate knowledge, learn, interact with others, how we move and have self-control, and express our feelings. Another way of looking at this is that our ability to process sensation is like a house having good foundations. If we have this, then it assists us to develop good sensory motor skills, coordination, fine and gross motor skills. It helps us to develop visual spatial perception, which is understanding where objects are in space and how close they are to one another. For example, it makes it possible to pick up a cup full of water without spilling any of it. It aids in the development of auditory or language skills, helping us hear and understand what is being said to us. Ultimately, all of this enables us to concentrate and participate in academic learning. Sensory processing. Information received via our senses include light, sound, smell, taste, touch, movement, and body awareness. Some children may appear sensitive or over-responsive to this information. A little might seem a lot. Some children might appear under-responsive. They may seek extra movement or appear lethargic and sleepy. If a person's brain does not process the information coming in an average way, then the result may mean they find it difficult to concentrate, cope with background noise, and have difficulty coordinating movements. They may have less self-confidence. Factors that influence sensory thresholds. Intrinsic or internal factors such as stress or anxiety, our emotions, sensory sensitivities, like I mentioned earlier, for example, over or under sensitivity. Motivation or interest in a task will have a big impact. Extrinsic or external factors include the environment or physical sensory environment, for example, if you're sitting on a hard chair for a long period of time, or if the lighting is too bright or too dull. Other people and the communication that they use. For example, if someone was speaking to you in a very angry tone, or if they were very quiet and kind. The expectations or demands another person might put on you. For example, that a young person might do very well in all of their subjects, or alternatively, if they have no expectations for them to do well at all. Stress and anxiety are significant factors for our children. Cortisol, the stress hormone, dampens critical functioning of the brain. For example, communication, problem solving, concentration, and coordinated movements. If you notice your child is highly stressed or anxious, this is not the time to have a talk about their behaviour, what they might do differently, or problem solve with them, as these high-level brain functions are not accessible to them at that time. They cannot hear what you are saying fully and cannot think clearly at that moment of stress. It is better to wait until the situation has calmed down in order to have a conversation with them. I like to use this analogy of a stress bucket. Imagine that you have a bucket in you that contains your stress. And for a person with an average amount of stress in your life, you wake up in the morning and your bucket of stress is low. And then you realise your alarm never went off. It's late, you've missed the bus and will be late for work. Your stress level goes up. You have an important meeting to go to, so your stress level goes up even further. But still, your bucket is not full, so you manage to think to yourself and say, okay, if I hurry up, ring a taxi and eat a snack on the way, I'll make it on time. This person manages to keep their stress level from going over the top, and over the course of the next while, their stress goes back down and they reach the office on time for their meeting. Alternatively, imagine you woke up in the morning and your stress bucket is full or nearly full, which it is for so many young people. They realise they've overslept and are going to miss the bus. They have a teacher first thing who won't accept any excuses. Their stress level increases to a point that their stress bucket overflows and they cannot think clearly, problem solve or concentrate and make a plan of action. This is a very useful analogy to think about when our children become very stressed, anxious, or overwhelmed. COVID-19 has had an effect on our sensory thresholds and stress responses. External effects include restrictions to being physically close to extended family and friends, remembering to follow guidelines re hand washing, and maintaining a 2-metre distance from others. Whether or not to wear face coverings in crowds and the mixed messages we've received about this. Lack of face-to-face contact with teachers and poor access to the internet or electronic devices have had a large impact on some students. Internal effects. A person may avoid or seek extra sensation. Loneliness. A person may have difficulty meeting up with friends in small groups, which would have occurred naturally in the school environment, and maybe they don't feel confident enough to organise it themselves. Fear of contracting the virus and or passing it on to others. Being unable to participate in regular team sports or leisure activities, for example hurling, soccer, swimming, karate. Anxiety around not completing schoolwork. All of the above factors are extremely likely to have an impact on all of our thresholds of response to sensation and stress. We may be over-responsive to sensation, finding ourselves even more sensitive to sensory sensation, for example, noise, touch, seeking movement or food to regulate, unable to cope with too much information at once, for example, various teachers asking for work to be completed on the same day. This can also increase our stress response, and it may be observed in various ways. For example, flight or fight reaction, fidgeting more, seeking movement, becoming angry easily, or freeze or shutdown, where we might find we are not able to do anything. Suggestions of a variety of sensory regulating activities over the next few slides could be extremely helpful to practice both for ourselves as parents and also for our children at this time in particular. They will likely reduce the impact of stress now and help prevent the build-up of further stress over the summer months, making it a little easier for our children to be regulated as possible when commencing secondary school. Calming activities. For example, slow movement activities like leaning into an exercise ball with the ball in the center of your back. Some people like massage. Deep breathing can be very effective. Wrapping yourself up in a blanket or duvet. Using a lava lamp, dimmed lighting or a candle. Listening to your favorite music. Can you think of any additional activities that calm your child? Alerting activities. For example, bouncing on your exercise ball to a tune that you like. Playing a team sport. Running, cycling and swimming. Jump on a trampoline. Going for a walk. What additional activities have you noticed help your child change their level of alertness from sluggish and lethargic to alert and ready for homework? Activities that both calm and alert. Hand fidgets such as blue tack or theraputty, fidgeting with a paperclip or pens, a hair bobbin or a keyring, using a stress ball, flower balloon or rice balloon, or rubbing a smooth stone. The proprioceptive system is located in our muscles and joints, and it provides us with a sense of body awareness and detects or controls force and pressure. Proprioceptive input can be very calming for those who are easily overwhelmed by sensory stimulation. Also, proprioceptive input can be alerting for those who need increased sensory stimulation to facilitate attention and learning. Examples of proprioceptive activities are carrying a box or heavy shopping bags, wheeling a bin, mowing the grass or digging in the garden, pushing a wheelbarrow, walking with a heavy rucksack on your back or a school bag, but not too heavy, weights appropriate to the person's ability, chewing, for example, gum or bagels, drinking from a sports top water bottle, hoovering or vacuuming, washing the car or windows, or hanging clothes on the clothesline. The following are a number of proprioceptive exercises that are both calming and alerting. A head press. Encourage your child to place the palms of their hands on the top of their head and press down with slow, deep, even pressure to the count of 10. Repeat this 2 times. A hand press is where you place your 2 palms together as if you were saying your prayers and push them against each other with effort for 10 seconds. A chair push-up, where your child sits on the chair with their bottom right back against the chair and their feet flat on the floor. Your child grabs the edges of the seat and tries to push their bottom up off the chair, and then tries to hold this position for the count of, say, 5 to 10 or 20 seconds. This slide is an example of a wall push-up, where you are facing the wall, feet shoulder width apart, arm distance from the wall, and you push the palms of your hand into the wall as hard as you can, as if you were trying to make the room bigger. Push for about 5 seconds and then go back into the starting position. You can do these exercises 5 to 10 times to increase level of alertness or to calm. If in doubt, do heavy work, as these proprioceptive exercises help with calming and alerting. Food offers a lot in terms of regulation. In general, foods that are alerting tend to be cold, sour or tart, spicy, minty or crunchy. Foods that are calming tend to be warm, smooth or sweet. Sucking is calming and therefore it can help to use a water bottle, like a sports water bottle or a straw. Some foods fall under heavy work for the jaw and cheek muscles, and this can either calm or alert. Notice what types of foods do you like and do your children like? It is worth considering trying to provide a regulating breakfast before school, for example, warm porridge or muesli, and a nurturing snack after school, such as warmed up cookies or a toasted bagel and milk, or your child's favourite snack. This will help them be more regulated when heading off to school and also to de-stress after school and feel able to open up and communicate how things are going, whether they need help or not. It is really nice and more effective if you can sit down and have a snack with your child when they return from school. Nurturing experiences release endorphins, which have a positive effect on genes. The most beneficial experiences will be those that are non-competitive and that take place with people that we love, for example, going for a walk in nature. Shared joy and pleasure is the most powerful antidote to stress. Organisation. For the second part of the presentation, we are going to focus on how to make school life more manageable. Strategies to help with regulation in school or homework. If there are difficulties processing and responding to sensory information, this may impact on your child's ability to focus in school and when completing homework and study. Your child may benefit from increased opportunities for movement in secondary school, which naturally occur when moving from class to class. Your child may require further movement breaks to help them attend and concentrate. It may be worthwhile chatting with the year head or class teacher about this. Your child may appear sensitive or over-responsive to noise or sounds and become easily distracted by these when studying. A quiet room may suit best. Alternatively, your child may seek sound or music to help them concentrate and remain alert and focused. Every child is different. Your child may benefit from using colours and highlighters when studying and revising to keep them focused and alert. A calendar can be placed over the desk to record when assignments or projects are due. Strategies to help with homework or study. Encourage a break, snack, and a chance to move around or be active before starting homework. To record homework quickly in class, your child can write abbreviations of subjects into the homework journal at the start of the week. Alternatively, your child may choose to write out the subject name in full. When homework is completed, it can be crossed out. Any outstanding work can be highlighted with the highlighter. Here is an example of a school diary. You can see the subjects are all written down in full on the left-hand side, and the student is using the letter P for page and Q for question as abbreviations. In this diary, the section at the bottom on the right is a notes section where messages can be sent from the teacher to the parent or parent to teacher. This is another example of a school diary. A history trip is seen to be happening on Tuesday, so there will be no classes that day. And there is a reminder in the notes section for the student to help remember to bring in a homework copy for English on Monday. School bags can look the same. How can your child tell their bag apart from others? Your child could apply a badge, a keyring, or use a permanent marker to create a symbol that they recognise easily. Encourage your child to routinely pack the school bag the night before. It can be helpful to use a calendar to write down items that need to be remembered on certain days. Check the school bag with your child over the first few weeks or months of secondary school, and keep helping if they need it. Praise efforts made to organise their belongings, even if it's not perfect. Some children take quite a long time to get used to organising themselves. Colour code books and copies using coloured labels, stickers, markers. Some students have found coloured folders per subject very helpful. You can place the stickers or coloured labels onto the side of the school book or copy to make them easier to see, as you can see in the diagram below. Sort books and copies according to the subject or colour rather than size. It can be helpful to use a see-through or transparent pencil case to find your pencils and pens easily. Keep a spare pencil case and calculator at home in case it is forgotten, if it's possible. Will your child be accessing the school curriculum via an iPad or a tablet? In these cases, books are downloaded to the iPad or tablet. It can be really helpful to have a set of books as well as the tablet. And for students that are not using tablets, they might like to have a second copy of some of their books so that they don't have to bring all of them home every night. You might be able to source some of the books secondhand. Choose easy to purchase colours, for example highlighters and primary colours for colour coding. Encourage your child to take a lead or help in choosing the colours to help with carryover and remembering what colour is used for what subject. Allocate colours to the most frequently or daily subjects first, for example English, Irish and Maths. It is worth considering the different copies that are available in some of the shops. For example, Mr. Price and Jones's often have copies for some subjects in a particular colour, like green for Irish and maybe blue for English. It can be easier to go with what is easily available in the shops and incorporate that into your system. When colour coding the school timetable, make at least 3 copies of it if you can. Place 1 copy in the school diary, and 1 copy can be placed inside the locker door, and perhaps 1 placed then above their study desk or area at home. This helps your child find books that are required quickly. Here you can see at a glance the difference between a colour-coded timetable and a black and white timetable. Personally, I think the colour-coded timetable helps some of the subjects stand out and makes it easier to see what subjects are on what days and what times. This colour-coded timetable has no teachers' names on it or no class numbers, so it keeps it very clear which days and times the subjects are on. This slide shows a sheet that has teachers' names and classroom numbers on it. They are seen clearly when kept separate to the other subject information. Tips and strategies for the school locker. Place a copy of the colour-coded timetable on the inside door of the locker. It could be in two parts, one part with the subjects and the other part with the teachers' names and room numbers. Consider the need for at least one spare locker key. Attach the locker key to the uniform, possibly using a stringed or labelled keyring, and keep a spare key in your school bag. It might also be helpful to have a spare key at home. Encourage your child to have a designated place for their locker key at home so that it's easily found. Might a combination lock be easier so that it wouldn't get lost as easily? Is it allowed at school? You might need to check that. If your child has difficulty with organisation or is sensitive to noise or large gatherings, make a request, if you can, to have a locker located at eye level or at the end of a row, or both. Stack books so you can see the colour-coded stickers. Check, have I got all the books that I need for my next few classes? What books or items do I need to take home tonight? Are there any messages or notes that I need to bring home? Is my locker tidy? Remember, your locker is not a rubbish bin, a homework folder, a dirty clothes basket, or a refrigerator. Ideally, there should never be loose pages in your locker or in your school bag on your desks at home either. File them if you can. It's a good idea to clean out your locker on a Friday. It can be helpful to do out a visual around things that need to be done to get organised for school, for example, after homework or before bed. This is just an example, and it can be changed according to what you need for your child. Remember to pack your school bag. Check with your wall planner. Is there anything to remember for tomorrow, like PE, special equipment? Make my lunch the night before if I can. Lay out my uniform or clothes, and set my alarm clock. Finally, your child's stress responses are likely to reduce as they become more familiar with their new environment and they become more confident at doing the tasks required. Successfully achieving new tasks will facilitate development of confidence and self-belief. For children who are anxious and struggling to organise themselves, it is likely to be most helpful if parents continue to support them with their regulation and organisation throughout the year. Though some of the tips in this presentation may not fit completely due to COVID-19 restrictions, for example, the use of lockers may not be used for the first few months, but it is likely they will become part of your child's experience in school in time. Supporting your child with self-regulation and organisation may be more important than ever to help them cope with the new way they receive their academic learning. I would like to thank Cork and Kerry Paediatric Occupational Therapy departments for sharing their information on organisation and transition to secondary school. I would like to take this opportunity to wish all of the students starting secondary school in 2020 and their parents the very best. Thank you for listening.